If a company doesn't want to bet on me, then I'm going to bet on myself. And now I'm talking to the Latinas that are listening. There's not enough people doing it for us, so we have to do it for each other.
Are you dating?
No, I would like to date, girl. I haven't been on a date in like 10 years. Don't even.
10 years?
Muchacha.
That is so interesting because I'm starting to hear more and more women like share that information. But let's talk about your journey into entrepreneurship, because you were in corporate for 20 plus years.
Yes.
What was going on in your life that made you want to do the missionary work? Living in your truth is the ultimate freedom. There is no other solace like being in love with yourself and being true to yourself. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Banking on Cultura. I am your host, Victoria Jenn Rodriguez. How are you? Lord, every day I wake up, I feel like there is something trending. There is something new to roll my eyes up about. So I just want to send you guys love and to tell you, listen, you're not alone. Whatever you are feeling, whatever you are desiring, whatever you are yearning for, if you're in a funk, if you're like, I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, or you're just finding yourself in uncharted waters, you are not alone, okay?
That's right.
You are not alone. And I want to share a story with you guys real quick before we get into today's interview. We have an amazing guest on today's show. Pero if you've been following me on the social media streets, and if you're not, at I am Victoria Jenn, your girl got a big boo-boo this past weekend. So this past weekend was Labor Day weekend. When this show drops, it should be close enough where you guys can still remember what you did during Labor Day weekend. But I went to Rhode Island. Rhode Island is absolutely gorgeous, by the way. If you have not been, definitely encourage you to visit. The water's beautiful. The towns are so quaint. Everybody's so nice. We went on a walk, my friends and I, and literally every single person we passed by said good morning. And, you know, growing up in New York City, you get the nod. You get the nod. You maybe get a cracked smile. You normally don't get good morning unless someone feels chipper that day, but not in Rhode Island. Everybody was very chipper. Everybody was very welcoming. It was just a vibe. It was beautiful. And so one day we went to Block Island, which you have to take a boat to from the mainland of Rhode Island. And so we go, and it's super cute. It's a super small island. So my friends and I, we see these mopeds, and we're like, oh, let's take the mopeds to get around the island so we can see everything. So we decided to make a reservation for the mopeds. So I arrive for my reservation. I get on the moped. So I have this dude who's telling me. So first of all, I was not impressed with the moped. It looked like it was beat up. They had these Vespas. I really wanted a Vespa, but it was with another company. So I had to go with this moped that I wasn't really impressed with. So I get on the moped, and he's like telling me everything I need to do. And he's like, all right, you're off. And I'm like, don't I need to wear a helmet? And he's like, oh, yeah, go get yourself a helmet. I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, let me go get myself a helmet. I get myself a helmet. Now I have a different gentleman who's explaining the bike to me who had a very thick Jamaican accent. And I'm explaining to him, I was like, I need you to slow down. Like, I can't understand what you are saying. So I was getting frustrated. He was getting frustrated. So he's like, look, why don't you do a little trial right here before you go, and let's test it out. So I'm like, all right, cool. I could do this. So your girl gets ready. She goes. Y'all, within 2 minutes, I had ran into a parked car. I basically rode the moped into a parked car, and it was man down, okay? Man down. And thankfully, I had that helmet on, because if not, my head would have hit the car, and then it would have hit the floor, okay? And I probably would have gotten scratched up, because my right leg is done. It's all wrapped up right now. And my arm got bruised up. It was just a hot mess. Didn't break any nails, though. God said, I got you. And didn't break any bones either. But it was an extravaganza, y'all. The ambulance came. I was like front and center. And the EMT folks were so nice. They were like, let's bring you inside the ambulance because everybody's watching. I was like, yes, I do not want to end up on TikTok because, you know, they love to put people on TikTok that have embarrassing moments, but they were super sweet and super nice. But what that taught me was I'll never get on a moped again. So that's numero uno. I'm more of a Vespa girl anyway. Let's keep it cute. Smaller machine, something a little slower. That's more my vibe. But two, what it taught me was that I can do hard things, okay? I'm in recovery mode, but I'm dealing with it and I'm going through the healing process. And you just never know when life is going to throw you these curveballs. And so you just have to show up anyway, which is why I'm here in the studio. We're still recording. We're still doing all the things. We're doing the whole wardrobe changes because I can't show my leg because it looks crazy. And then the third thing that I learned is don't be afraid to ask for help. When these EMT volunteers came, they were like, do you want to go? Do you want us to help you? I'm like, yes, absolutely. Please help me. Like, wrap me up, clean me up, do all the things, right? There was no pride in that moment. There was no ego in that moment. I was like, help me. So in this time of so much uncertainty and there's just tons of ambiguity and there's just a lot going on that you might feel a little insecure about things, or you might feel like you're not 100%, or you don't feel like yourself, don't be afraid to ask for help. Ask. People are willing to help you if you ask, but they don't know you need help unless you let them know. So those were my key takeaways from my accident this past weekend. If you saw the story time on social media, let me know, shoot me a DM. By the way, shout out to everybody who is sending me good wishes and all the healing vibes, because it was quite the show, darling. It was quite the show, but we survived. We are survivors. Now, on to my amazing guest, who is also a survivor, who also has an incredible story to share. She is here because she just dropped a book. So we're going to talk about her new book. We're going to talk about her latest adventures on the entrepreneur trail. And we're going to get into some bunchinche as always. So without further ado, I have the pleasure of welcoming Hady Méndez, who is the CEO of Boldly Speaking. She went from corporate to entrepreneur, so we're going to get into that. And now she is an author of the soon-to-be best-selling book, Calladita No More. And we love that. Yes. So welcome, Hady. Welcome to Banking on Cultura.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be here. That was a good story.
Thank you. That was a girl.
I'm glad you survived.
Thank you.
You're brave, because I would not have gotten on a moped. With or without a helmet.
I got on a moped. You couldn't tell me nothing. They would need to give me a bodysuit. Couldn't tell me nothing. And literally within 2 minutes, I was like head-on collision with the car. The car is what stopped me, because I couldn't stop the damn moped. And everybody's like, why didn't you press the brakes? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And I'm like, in the moment, everything goes really fast. I don't know. I thought I was stopping.
Exactly.
But the car is what stopped me. No, seriously, God, shout out to God, because it could have really went a whole nother direction. Lord. But yeah, it was good times, good funny times. But enough about me. We're here to talk about you. So tell us some monchinche.
All right. Well, again, I want to introduce myself to the audience. I'm Hady Méndez, pronounce she, her, ella. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm a native New Yorker, Puerto Rican, Boricua, all the things. And my bochinche that I'm going to just kick us off with is that I am leaving the country, girl. And I know that is something that a lot of people talk about, and a lot of people have been talking about a lot more lately. But I am talking with lawyers. I have paperwork in progress, and si Dios quiere, very, very Latina of me, si Dios quiere. Got to put that in there. Si Dios quiere, I'm going to be in Europe in the new year.
Wow. Where in Europe?
My target is Spain.
Okay.
So I'm trying to go to Madrid.
Okay.
That's going to be my first stop.
Okay.
I want a city vibe, because I am a New York City girl, and I feel like I need to be in another city. And, a lot of people ask, hey, have you been there? I have visited Spain a couple times. I had a niece who studied in Madrid, so I actually have visited Madrid.
Okay.
I didn't particularly fall in love with it per se. That's not the reason for the move. It's kind of a means to an end. I'm thinking a lot about I guess my third chapter and where I want to be and what kind of life I want to have. And I feel like Europe is going to be more affordable. There's more options. I think there's going to be, especially from like medical point of view, I think it's going to be much more affordable. And yeah, so I'm just like thinking, I'm planning ahead. I'm thinking about like what happens as I'm easing my way into retirement. And I really want like a little bit of a more affordable, slow, fun kind of life. And I feel like Europe is going to take me there.
Wow, that's a big decision to make, to literally move across the globe to a whole new country, continent.
I've done it before.
Oh, you have?
Yes.
Oh.
So about 10 years ago, I moved to South America for 2 years. And I lived in Cochabamba, Bolivia, where I was a missioner. So I actually was working with incarcerated and formerly incarcerated women for 2 years.
Wow.
And I went with a mission organization. So it's not like I went by myself.
Right.
But I mean, like, I didn't know anybody there. I had never been to Bolivia. I just signed the contract and said, me voy. And I went and I had like an amazing, very transformative experience. I write about it in the book.
Okay.
And so it's like, I feel like it's not something that I can't do.
It's not too foreign to you.
Yeah, to your point, we can do hard things. That's a hard thing, but I think it's going to be a hard thing that's going to lead to a lot of payoff in the future. And so I'm willing to kind of navigate that maybe risky time that feels a little bit uncomfortable so I could get to the other side and maybe have a really nice retirement.
So what was going on in your life that made you want to do the missionary work?
That's such a good question. And I actually do write about it in the book. So I'll share a little bit here. But I had lost my mother and my sister within a few years of each other. They both passed. And after that, I moved to Florida. So it was like my mother died 3 years later, my sister died. And then I moved to Florida. So all of this happened like within a very short window. Mm-hmm. And I would say by the time I got to Florida, I was like, it was kind of like that YOLO moment where I was like, I really have to be very intentional about how I live because I don't know how long I'm going to live. Mm-hmm. When other people die, you start thinking about your own mortality.
Yeah,
and you're like,
totally.
What mark am I leaving? Like, what impact have I made? Or like, if I die tomorrow, was there any evidence that I was here? So I kind of was really thinking about like, well, what's my purpose? Why did God bring me here? What am I supposed to be doing? And I feel like that really led to thinking about going on mission and really giving back in a more meaningful way. And so I went overseas for 2 years. It was really fun.
What was your biggest takeaway from that experience?
I think part of it is definitely the I can do hard things part because I feel like you're starting from scratch. Like you have no friends. You don't even know how to call 911. Like if I fell down the stairs, I wouldn't have it. Like I'm like, I remember because someone tried to break into where we lived. We lived in a center. Okay. It was a community center, and during the day it had offices, and at night we were the only ones there, me and the other missioners. And someone broke in. That we had like a break-in in the first floor, and we were like, who do we call? We're like, we don't even know how to call the police. We like literally have no idea how to do that. So you're starting from zero. You don't know like everything, like what to buy, what brands to buy, where to get something. Like here, you're like, oh, I need toilet paper, I go here. I need lipstick, I go there. Like there, you're like, I don't know. Do I go to the mercado or am I going to the centro or like where do I go to get these things? So, and like it's really weird, but like the post office was like, I was forever in the post office. It's like I don't spend this much time in the post office in the States. I don't know why it's such a big thing here, but like it was like, oh, tiene que ir I forgot how to say post office in Spanish. Do you remember how to say that?
I don't know.
Oh, el correo. El correo. Hay que ir al correo para eso. I'm like, really? Like everything was al correo. But anyway, so I definitely learned that I could do hard things. And I learned that what I would be willing to do for free because I was doing it for free.
I was just going to ask
they
you,
didn't pay me.
Missionary work free?
It's free. All they do is they put you up.
Okay.
And then they give you a little stipend. So I was making $200 a month.
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
So I mean, it does go a longer way there, but still $200 is $200 for a month.
Yeah. And so you had to pay for your own flight there, your own flight
No,
back?
they pay for the flights. So they pay for the flights, they pay for the visa, like anything to do with the work itself, they pay for it. But like your living expenses are yours. Mm-hmm. And so, I learned to do a lot more with less, to be generous with people that didn't have, because I had money in the bank. I had worked in corporate for like 20 years by that time. So I had money in the bank. So it's like, we want to have fun tonight. I'm buying 3 bottles of wine and we're having fun tonight. Like, I'm not even going to think about it. So it was nice to be able to give and be generous with people. And also I learned that like, just like here, I would do any day right now, when I got there, I was like, I want to work with women and I want to work with children. Those were the two things I wanted to do because I love empowering women and I love working with the next generation, like young people, and like making sure that they're getting, like, that they're being prepared for whatever experiences they're going to have. And so it was like very on brand. Like I did the things that I was already doing, but like I leaned into it. And when I was in prison, it was very interesting too, because I didn't have a speaking career at that time, but nevertheless, I had done a speaking intensive when I was in Bolivia in order to kind of get a little practice my Spanish more. And then I ended up bringing a speaking intensive, which was a speaking course, into the prison.
Wow.
Which was random. Now that I have my career, now that I have my career, I'm like, oh, well, of course I would do that. And then I actually, when the women, I was like a life skills instructor for them. And so when they got out of prison, they would take this life skills workshop. And I did a speech class with them. And I would say, okay, tomorrow we're going to talk about, you know, what are the things that you want for your future? And they're like, but hermana, I just got out of jail. Like, what do you, right. I don't know what I want for my future. I'm like, oh, well, you got to think about it. And those were some very, very powerful speeches those women would give. Very powerful. They were not speakers, but the things that they said came from the heart. And they were so deep and so profound and so vulnerable. It's beautiful.
I could see how that would be a transformational experience for you.
Totally. Totalmente.
Do you have children?
No.
Was that an executive decision you made on your own, or?
Yeah, I don't like kids.
Okay. Okay.
And that's coming from someone I was a community school director at an elementary school in the South Bronx for 3 years.
Okay.
But I like those kids. Like I do like some kids, and I guess I like kids once I start getting to know them, and they're like little people to me.
Yeah.
But I don't like kids that cry and like are spoiled brats. Like I don't like kids like that. But I like kids that are curious and eager to learn and like respectful. Like when I worked at the school, I loved those kids, and they would like be like, Miss Hady, you know, this, that, and the third. Miss Hady, can I have a Skittles, or can I have like a little fruit candy or whatever? I used to have like snacks in my office. And once the word got out, all the kids would come knocking and be like, Miss Hady, can I have a granola bar? And I'm like, yes, of course, come in. And I would give them, I loved having like little people and having little conversations with them. I loved it. But yeah, I didn't really want kids. I never really enjoyed children. And I don't know if I made a conscious decision, but it was never a priority for me. And then the time passed. I'm like in my 50s now, so it's like, you know, not possible. And I'm okay with that. Like,
so as a Latina, not wanting kids, that's like a sin. Right? Like culturally, we kind of are groomed to like, you know, have children. Yeah.
So a couple things. I'm the youngest. So all my other sister is very fertile. They gave my parents lots of grandchildren. So like there was no pressure for me. So that was taken care of because all my sisters got a bunch of kids. And then I would say also, I actually don't remember people, like, I think maybe, I'm guessing at one point people were like, oh, you want kids? Like once I got married or whatever. I'm twice married, twice divorced. So I'm guessing that people like asked, but I don't remember. So it was like, como que yo no le hice caso. I was like, no, I'm not that interested. And I just kept it moving. And I think eventually people stopped asking.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Are you dating?
No, I would like to date. Girl, I haven't been on a date in like 10 years. Don't even.
10 years?
Muchacha.
Wow.
Yeah. This could be my ad.
Wait, this interview might go in another direction.
But I'm 50 plus. I'm looking for
10 years.
10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pero that had to be by a choice because you're a beautiful woman. Like, I'm sure somebody would want to take you on a date.
But not really.
Are you not on the apps? Are you not outside?
I'm not on the apps.
Oh, I don't. So you're not discoverable.
Well, not that way. I mean, I feel like I'm present. I'm very visible in spaces. But yeah, like, I don't know if it was intentional, but I do feel like even if it's not intentional consciously, it's probably intentional subconsciously. Like, I've prioritized other things. And like, you know, like right now I'm moving and I'm like, that's my priority. Like focusing on that. My book is my priority.
You're about to bag you a Spaniard. You're about to get you a little cutie. There's a lot of beautiful people in Spain.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I want a Spaniard. I won't talk shit about them yet, but I want someone who's smart.
Yeah.
And who I write on Substack and I wrote about this. Okay. So I did write about this. It needs to be no fuss, I don't need any extra work. I'm not trying to raise a man, you know, kind of. So he tiene que estar ya cocinado, you know, like
comes packaged already.
Like ready to go.
Yeah.
and additive,
Yeah.
meaning like I got my life, I got my book, I got my career, I got my business, I got all my things. If you see a way to fit into that, great. If you're gonna try and take that away from me or like get in the way of that, I'm not really interested.
You know, what's been really interesting for me is, you know, on Threads, that's like my favorite thing right now. And I constantly see women share these stories of how they go years celibate and years no dating.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is so interesting because I'm starting to hear more and more
Yeah.
women like share that information. And I'm just like, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, I'm gonna tell you one more thing, and you don't know this yet because you're young, or you're definitely younger than me. But after a certain age, women get invisible. And I'm definitely in that age.
Invisible meaning to other people?
Yeah,
or?
men don't notice us anymore.
Really?
Yeah, so that I think is more than anything what has happened to me. Because you're right, when I was in my element, even into my mid 40s, yo estaba, hey, how are you? I was like everywhere, smiling. I would meet people everywhere. And it, like after a certain age, it was like, I'd be like making the same eye contact and they'd be like, no, I don't even see you. I'm looking over here.
That's interesting.
So that happens. And I feel
Okay.
like maybe that's why it's more common, and maybe it's more common after a certain age, is because women become more invisible after a certain age. It's like guys my age are looking for younger women. So who's looking at me? Like un viejo that I'm like
younger
not really
guys.
interested. Well, I don't know. Not really. Not them either.
No.
It's a little bit different because when I was in my 40s, you're right. The younger guys would look at me. And it was like probably in my late 40s, early 50s when the tide changed, which is consistent with what I'm telling you.
What's interesting is that the women, the age group is all over the place.
It's all over the
like
place?
women in their 20s, women in their 30s,
Oh, okay.
women
Then
in their 40s.
I can't explain that.
Now you're sharing in your 50s. It's like interesting. It's
It
like,
is
wow.
interesting.
Like they're making the decision to not engage.
Yeah, that I'm not. I don't think I'm there, that I've made a
Okay.
decision. It just hasn't happened. It hasn't really been my conscious decision, not at all. But like I'm okay with it. So I think I've kind of accepted it and said, okay, that's cool because I got other things going on anyway. And like I said, if the right time comes, bienvenido. And if not, I got friends, I got family, I got projects. I'm happy. I live a full life, and I can say that with a lot of sincerity. And, yeah, I mean that. Like, I have a full life. And if there is a partner, someone out there for me that could, make my life even better, I'm open to it.
Yeah. It's just so interesting to me because I wonder, like, when I watch documentaries and they talk about people living well into their like late 90s and how actually they're able to do that and what were the trends. One of the trends is like community and companionship. And I'm like, I wonder if we're leaning more towards a society where we are almost forced to find these things to fill up empty spaces so that we can be okay with
Maybe.
being alone, and be okay with, okay, this is my reality. This is what it is. This is how I have to cope. This is how I have to manage. And I just wonder if that's like healthy for us as like a people.
Well, we definitely need people in our lives, but I don't think it has to be romantic. You know what I mean? So I do have healthy communities that I'm part of, which I talk about in the book. I have a whole chapter called, what is it? It's like, I'm trying to think now. I'm like, wait, what is it called? I don't want to get it wrong. But it's a chapter on community, and it says, first, build comunidad. And that's about how when you're striving for success and striving for a full life and a good life, make sure that you build community along the way and you find your community and your people. So I don't know. I don't know if it has to be romantic, but I definitely have communities and they serve different purposes. Like not every community is the same. And, a friend, like a platonic friendship is not going to fill the need of a romantic relationship ever. Like those are two different things. But I've, like, again, it hasn't really exactly been by choice. It's just been by circumstance. But have found ways to still be happy and, live a full life and have things that I'm really excited about. you and I just came back from Puerto Rico and we were at the Bad Bunny concert.
Yes,
and girl,
we was, and it was lit.
you live in a full life when you're like that concert. I looked around and that feeling I hadn't had a feeling like that in a really long time.
Well, listen, I actually shared this on TikTok and it went viral because, honey, I had an expectation. When I go to Puerto Rico, I'm like,
did you get to the balcón, by the way?
The what?
Did you go to the balcón?
No, I did not. Pero I was like, gonna flirt a little, gonna have some fun. And honey, no. On that island, it was nothing but single women, gay men, and couples. That's it. And I thought I was in the Twilight Zone. I was like, what is happening?
I never have that expectation in Puerto Rico, ever.
Well, now I won't anymore.
And I have been proven right. I'd be like, even in Costco, I'd be like, hey. And it's like, no, they're not interested.
It's crazy.
So it's like, okay.
And I was like, what? So I thought I was being cute. This was my first time staying at an all-adults hotel.
Okay.
Right? I've never stayed at one before. And I was like, yeah, cool. No kids. Cool. Like, I'm thinking there's going to be, like, single men there. Like, have some fun. No. At the all-adults hotel, this is what I've realized.
Un chojo de mujeres.
And what I found out. Yes, there's tons of single women. A lot of women who are into other women.
Oh, okay.
Couples. Gay men and swingers.
Válgame Dios.
I was like, I am in the wrong.
they need to put that in the fine print.
What is happening?
Now you need all adult single females looking for a man hotel.
Listen, I mean, and if you think about it, Benito, he attracts
everybody,
single women,
everybody, though.
couples, and gay men.
Yeah.
Like that's his audience.
Yeah, for sure.
You're not gonna see like a group of single men go to see him.
That's true.
Really.
That's true. Yeah, actually, now that you talk about it, when I went, it was my cousins here, a gay couple here, and then this gay guy here that was having such a good time, and I was having a good time like with him and for him. Like he was just like.
He was in the zone.
Yeah, he was, I don't know what he had before he came, but he was like comiendo, like, I don't know what he had, mofongo, fritura, algo, alcapuria. And he just had his eyes closed and he was dancing. But he was happy. Everybody was happy.
Yes.
That was the common theme. Everybody was having a good
in
time.
That place, the energy, the vibe, the soulness of it all. It was beautiful.
It was
beautiful. And the energy on the island was super dope.
Yeah.
It was just like, who I got all these cute outfits for? I could be here looking like a straight up like bum and I'll be good.
But see, I think that's when, like I also, I want to look pretty. And I remember when I was younger, I always was like, I don't want to be the person who's the frumpiest in the room. That was like always my goal. So I remember a lot of times my ex-husband would be like, why are you getting all dressed up? I'm like, because I do not want to be underdressed. We gotta keep it cute,
yeah.
Yeah. But now I don't always think about it like that. I want to look cute and I'm like, oh, I look cute. But I don't think to the next level of like, oh, and is a man gonna notice me? Or like, will someone now come and ask me for my number or whatever? Like, I just be like, oh, because I ended up getting like cute red Adidas. And I bought them in Puerto Rico to go with my outfit. And I had like a red top and a little white ruffle skirt. It was very cute, the outfit. I was very happy with it at the end.
I love it.
Yeah, but it was for me. I was just like, I look ready for this concert.
Oh, see, me and you are different. I go outside and I'm like, who is here?
Pero tú estás más jovencita. I was like that too, trust me. I had my moments. I had my years, yes. I was you know how they say hunter and gatherer? I was a hunter. I was on the prowl. But that's, I'm in a different season.
Yeah. I hear you.
I'm more tranquila now.
Yeah.
I'm more tranquila.
I would say I'm tranquila, but I do always have my eye out, just in case.
You remind me so much of Cardi B. You really do. Yes. Yes.
I take that as a compliment.
You say a lot of cute things like her. Very cute.
She is amazing. Amazing.
Yes,
okay.
we love Cardi.
So this Bonchinche went into this is
a whole other direction.
Starting with Bonchinche because you just never know what you're gonna get, and I love it. But let's talk about your journey into entrepreneurship because you were in corporate for 20 plus years.
Yes, 25.
How long ago did you decide, okay, I'm going full throttle into entrepreneurship?
Well, I was kind of thrown into it. So I would say that, because I talked a little bit about retirement before. So I think I always kind of knew in the back of my head that I wanted to start a side hustle that maybe could take me into retirement. But I never planned on leaving corporate like de cantazo. But I was laid off. And I was laid off in early 2023. My company laid off 10% of the workforce, which at that time was like 8,000 people.
And you were in tech, right?
I was in tech, and I was the head of equality for a major tech company. So, and I was laid off rather suddenly. So when that happened, I decided, you know what, let me just do a little bit of like speaking engagements, partnering with ERGs, consulting, advising, because that's what I know and that's what I enjoy. And let me just see if I could like kind of do that as a bridge job into finding my next gig. And what I discovered, and we've talked about a lot of isms, but we haven't talked about ageism. But maybe we have a little bit, because I talked about how when you're over a certain age, kind of men don't see you anymore. Well, the other place where that kind of sticks his head out is in the job search. Because I feel like in the job search, I didn't get, and so P.S. I didn't find any jobs. I never, in that whole time that from the point I got laid off until the present day, I never got another job offer. And, eventually I stopped looking. So I'm not looking anymore. I decided to go all in on my business. But for the first few months, I would say maybe 9 months since I got laid off, I applied to over 1,000 jobs and I didn't get one job offer. And I was very qualified for many of those jobs. Most of those jobs I was very qualified for. And when I would get the no, I would follow and see like, well, who eventually got announced. And it was like a young person, maybe between 0 and 10 years into their career. And so, the market, organizations are looking for a lot of young talent, and there could be a lot of reasons for it. Maybe they're looking for fresh perspectives. Maybe they're looking for like, new talent, people that can grow with the organization. Labor. But at the end of the day, that plays a role. And so, anyway, that happened, and I had to kind of accept that like, hey, this isn't gonna maybe work in my favor.
So is that ageism? Is ageism, like, how do you define ageism?
Well, I feel like ageism has to do with taking into account that like, maybe I don't have a lot of time left in my career. Maybe I'm going to ask for too much money. Maybe the way I do things is a little outdated or not as fresh or current. Those are like the combination of those things, none of which I think are true. P.S. I feel like I still have a lot of value to bring into an organization. In fact, I feel like I'm in the best time in my life to bring value to an organization. So it's really unfortunate, but let's not forget that I'm a Latina and I'm a woman. And like all those intersections, they kind of come together, and it's like, it's unfortunate, but like there are a lot of women of color out there that got laid off and never got back into the market. I know I've met so many, and they'll like schedule calls on me and they're like, how did you end up starting your business? I'm like, because I discovered that I was not going to get hired. It did not look like, and trust me, I applied to so many places, nonprofit, big organizations, companies just like mine, positions that I was in, lower positions, none of them wanted me. And it didn't make sense. And so I said, I just had to bet on myself. And I felt like at this point, I have a lot to offer. If a company doesn't want to bet on me, then I'm going to bet on myself. And that's what I encourage a lot of women of color, especially people that are like 20, 30 years into their career and they just lost their job or, whatever, got I forget what they like restructured or whatever the company restructures and they got their papers. I tell them, bet on yourself. Don't waste your time applying for jobs. You could do that if you really want to get back into corporate, and there's reasons you might because of retirement plans and medical coverage and stuff like that. Do it. Okay, keep applying, but bet on yourself in the meantime and see what you can build on your own. And there's a lot of us out here on the streets that can build together. So don't be afraid to do that. And you might be pleasantly surprised at the outcome. I never, ever, you could have told me, Hady, you're going to write a book in a year. And I would have been like, no, you're lying. Never. Eso no estaba en mi plane. I never had any intention of doing this. But that's where life took me. And, you also have to be willing to be adaptable and flexible and open to like where the universe takes you. And so I feel like I've done that.
One of the things that I really admire that you do really well is community and building community. Where does that come from? Like, does that happen naturally? Do you sit down and like think through a strategy of like, okay, community is big to me. Like, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. This is how I'm going to show up. Like, because if someone, like, I agree with you. I think community is everything, especially in this moment where we are, there's so many things that are forcing us to detach and forcing us to not unify. So what would be your advice to people who are looking to build community? Where do they start?
Yeah. So to answer your question, it just happens. And one of the things in the book that everyone needs to know is that I use refranes in the book. So refranes are like sayings or dichos. And one of the refranes that I use on the chapter for community is hoy por ti, mañana por mí. And it is something that I learned a long time ago, which is today for you, tomorrow for me. And we're just gonna, I'll do something for you, then you do something for me, and I'm gonna do something for you, and so on and so forth. And so with that grounded in that belief, I feel like I can always be giving and doing something for somebody else. And I don't even know when you're gonna have an opportunity to do something for me, but I trust that when that time comes, it'll happen. And so some of it is trusting in the spirit of community and that there's this flow there. And the other thing is like recognizing that the spotlight is not always meant for you, and to be okay with shining the light on somebody else and like really being happy for them. And like when you really do that from like and sometimes it's not always easy because somebody might have something you want. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, let's say you're doing the thing. You got the customer that I wanted, or you got this speaking opportunity that I wanted, or you won an award that I wanted. And I'm like, I didn't get it. Like, she got it. And then at the same time, it's like, okay, you know what? I'm happy for Victoria. I really am, because Victoria works hard and she deserves this. Congratulations, Victoria. Best of success in your new role, whatever, the best wishes. I'm gonna wish it to you from the bottom of my heart. And then I'm gonna know that, like, I'm gonna believe, not know, but believe that soon, the world takes a lot of turns, and there might be an opportunity for me to get the spotlight in a future date. And I'm gonna tell you, it's happening right now. I'm living this moment that I'm telling you about. I'm living it, because this book is coming out, and I've asked people to help me. I've asked people to endorse the book, read the book. Could you do a live with me? Could you do a giveaway and like give the book to someone in your community? Like anything, bring me to your podcast. Some people haven't even, like most people haven't even asked. People come to me and say, hey, can I support you? How can I support you? You told me, hey, we need to get you on the show. Like, I didn't even ask you. You came to me. Mm-hmm. But like, you and I have been having a little bit of we talk. Mm-hmm. You and I have been talking for a while. And so I feel like, I don't know, I guess it's just, if you trust that and you believe that and you are genuinely happy for other people and you acknowledge or recognize that there's more than enough opportunity for everybody, then and it's like, okay, well, today Victoria shines, tomorrow Fulana shines, and my time is coming. And then we're all going to shine. We lift each other up. So it's a very deep belief that I have. It's very deep rooted belief. And so I don't know how to teach other people that, but just to say that when you meet someone else, instead of thinking about how that relationship can benefit you, ask that person, hey, what are you building? And how can I support you? Start there. Start supporting someone else, and you'd be surprised at how by doing that, you might get some support when you need it.
So what I'm hearing, if you're looking to build community, is you need to trust that if you do good, other people will do good by you.
Yes.
And also to serve selflessly.
Yeah.
I'm hearing that.
Yeah.
And also to celebrate others out loud.
Out loud.
Is what I'm also hearing.
Yes. And always be doing that for each other. And now I'm talking to the Latinas that are listening. There's not enough people doing it for us, so we have to do it for each other. And when you see someone, even if you see someone get the thing you wanted, be happy for them and ask them how they did that. And then learn from them, because there's an opportunity there. Mm-hmm. And your time is coming, because there's enough success for everybody.
Okay. So I love those shares. I think those are super helpful. And by the way, make sure you're following Hady on LinkedIn, because you do a lot of community building there is what I see.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like little takeaways that you can grab from there. So you were kind of forced into entrepreneurship.
Yep.
And you spent a couple of months still job hunting, and then you finally were like, F it. All on me. Let's go full throttle. How has that journey been like?
I would like to say that it's been, roses, like just amazing. And to some degree, it has been amazing in that I've learned a lot about myself and my ability to persevere and to be someone that remains steadfast and focused despite hardships, challenges, setbacks, because there's been a lot of setbacks. I haven't made money consistently. I have, DEI has been under attack, and that's my space, working with employee resource groups. A lot of companies are cutting back.
Yeah.
A lot of companies don't want anything to do with DEI. It's like, it's like the thing with the cooties. No one wants anything to do with it. And so, but that's something that I believe strongly in, transforming the work experience of underestimated people. And I'm not going to not do it because no está de moda or because someone says that it's not the thing to do anymore. So I'm pretty invested in this area, and I'm going to find a way to encontrarle la vuelta to continue to do this work because it's very much needed work. I know it. You know it. Everybody watching here knows it. Like, this is not something that we can step away from. In fact, we have to double down. Si vamos a ver, now is the time to really, dig into this. So yeah, it's been hard. It's been hard not making money consistently. It's been hard trying to build a brand. It's been hard, like, learning how to market because I had a lot of skills, a lot of transferable skills. I'm very organized. I'm good with customers. I'm extroverted. I like networking. I'm all about community. Those are all things that I knew how to do really well. I'm learning that I'm not that great with marketing. I'm not the type of person that does cold calling, nor do I want to. Like, it just feels so against my brand. So if I'm not going to cold call, then I got to be investing a lot of time in building those relationships that over time might lead to some opportunities and partnerships. So I have had successes. So I'm not going to say like I haven't had any success, but I'm hoping the book is a turning point for me. This book has, I poured a lot of myself into it. I invested a lot of money and time and energy into the book. My hope is that it's going to be a turning point for me and my business. And like, this is going to cement me as a thought leader, and that really, that I'm going to get onto bigger stages and that I'm going to get more opportunities. So that's, like, everything is, as an entrepreneur, you've been doing it longer than me. You just got to keep being adaptable, keep pivoting, keep growing, like, seize opportunities, double click on something if you feel like it's working, be willing to walk away from something that doesn't seem like it's working, but don't give up too soon, but like know when to move. And it's like, it's a lot of
trial and error.
Yeah, it's trial and error, and like skills that you didn't even know you had or you needed, trusting your gut, trusting people. Somebody like does you dirty and you're like, okay, well, we know we're not partnering with them anymore because this was not about me, it was about them, and I thought it was about us. And it's a lot of learning and growing pains, but en eso estoy. I haven't given up.
Yeah. I always say entrepreneurship is you pay for your own leadership development. Like, it's not the type of leadership development you can get working for somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, you just won't be able to grow in the same way. You also won't be able to learn yourself in the same way.
Yeah.
And also really discover, if you allow yourself to, right? If you allow yourself to truly surrender, it is the way to really understand, like, who you are.
Yes.
And what matters to you and like what's important. Because when you're getting paid, you're working for somebody else and things are just comfortable and things are just, going according to plan, you don't really feel the need to sit down and really think about
you don't have to.
You happy. Right. You don't have to. You're
just
not
told what to do.
Think about those things.
Yeah.
Right.
Someone
you're
says
just
do this.
spoiling the machine. Right. You're just like in the routine of it all. But when like you are stopped in your path, it's like, whoa, like, hold on a second. Let me like really think about this. And it makes you analyze, like, what is life?
Yeah, you really reflect and you learn what you're about and what you're willing to stand for,
exactly.
and where you're willing to compromise and where you are not willing to compromise. Like, it's like everyone was like, are you still going to be doing DEI work? And I mean, we don't call it that anymore, inclusion and belonging, employee engagement, whatever. You can call it whatever you want. But are you still going to be invested in underestimated people and like making sure that we're, like, because I teach all about empowerment. That's, self-empowerment, self-advocacy, self-promotion. Like, are you still going to do that? And I'm like, absolutely, because we need it now more than ever. Like, this is not the time to walk away from the community. This is the time to double down.
Mm-hmm. As I'm listening to you, a business idea just came to mind.
Ooh, I love them. Tell me.
I think that there is a huge market for women who are 50 plus, who are yearning for that next chapter. Like they feel it. They
Yeah.
feel like, okay, transition's coming. I'm thinking about legacy. I'm thinking about like what's
Yeah.
next.
Yep.
And they need help figuring that out.
I like that.
And they have money to pay people to help them to figure it out, right? Because they have these lucrative careers, and now they're thinking about like, what's next? What am I going to do when I enter
I like
retirement?
that.
What is my life going to look like? You're living through the process.
What?
And so I think that could be like a market for you. Like maybe it's like, fuck corporate. Like maybe your market is like,
That's a good name for it too.
right. Maybe your market is like these women who are entering into this next phase of life, who are still full of tons of life.
Yes.
But they just don't know what to do with it. They just don't know how to
Yes.
organize it all. They just don't know how to identify like what's that thing. They don't know how to have the difficult conversations with themselves. They don't
And I don't
know.
want us to settle, because I think that is what corporate was hoping we would do, is like, just settle. We're going to give you less money. You're going to get a lower position. Just settle. Like, this is what we got. Eso lo que hay. And it's like, why? Why should we settle?
Yeah.
We have so much to offer.
Or even think that you've reached this, era in your life where it's like not as fun or not as exciting.
Yeah.
Or like it's just not gonna light you up in the same way, and
Yeah.
you just accept that
Yeah.
as like the norm because that's what people say happens, like at
Yes.
around that age. And
Yes.
definitely what corporate pushes, right? So I don't know. I think that could be a space for you.
I think it
that
could be too.
Like you could
I
be
like
the
that.
voice for these women who are
Muchacha.
in this era of their lives. And if you look at the data, there's tons, right?
Yeah.
Who are thinking about like, okay, what does this look like? And usually they're senior in their career, so they got money to pay to figure this stuff out.
I
You
like
know what
this.
I mean? I don't know. I think
That's something that I could
be.
do from Spain, girl.
This is what I'm saying. And then the
Yeah.
fact that you're in Spain, you have the Substack, like people are going to live vicariously through you. And they're naturally going to be like intrigued by your bravery and your courage. They're going to be like, ooh, like she's doing this. I can do this too. I can move across the globe. Like I can
love
freaking
this.
do this internationally. And you could host freaking retreats for these ladies in Spain and all the things. Like, I don't know. I feel like that could be like a thing.
It's a really good idea.
Yeah, I think that I would kind of infuse it in a little bit into your branding. I would say, I'm thinking about this concept.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I love it.
And see what responses you get. I wouldn't be surprised if you get some DMs and they're like, oh my God, yes, I'm struggling. Like, I don't know what to do, or like, I'm bored.
Yeah. Well, purpose is a good thing. I think you're hitting, because that is something definitely that I feel like after you hit a certain point, it stops being about like me, the individual, and it's more like us and like how can, what role can I play in elevating us? And like as a older, more mature person who has a lot of skills and brings a lot of value, how can I use that in a way that serves others? I think a lot of people do look for purpose in this season of their life.
Yes, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Because purpose shifts, I think, depending on what era of life you're in.
Yeah.
But it's hard to identify like what that is and think about all your amazing ideas and funnel them down to, okay, I'm passionate about all these things, but I'm going to start with this one.
Yeah. It's funny. So I do have a chapter in the book.
Okay, I love it.
I know there's like a chapter for everything. I have one called Descubriendo Your Why. So it's like learning a little bit about what your purpose is. And I talk about how I discovered my why. And it was at an employee resource group event at work.
Really?
Yeah.
What was it? Tell us.
It's funny. So the way I start the chapter, someone said to me, I felt like I was in church. So that's how the chapter starts. And in what they were describing is that we did this event for it was a local charity, and it was for young girls, and it was young girls of color. So someone asked me if we would host an event at our company. I worked at a company, like a corporate bank at the time. And so the employee resource group, the women's ERG, hosted the event. And actually it was like a couple of ERGs. But anyway, a lot of people got involved. And at the end of the event, we all kind of held hands. And I was the one like saying goodbye. Mm-hmm. But I ended up, it felt more like a prayer. It sounded more like a prayer than it did like a goodbye in a corporate event. That's why she told me it sounded like, it felt like she was in church. Because I was like, thank you for this time. And they're like, who are we thanking? Like, it
yeah.
sounds like we're thinking that like God, the universe, who are we thanking? And anyway, like I started crying and then other people started crying. But this was like at the end of it, like we had maybe like 4 or 5 hours with these young girls and like we poured our souls into making this event really nice and like make them feel celebrated and valued and appreciated.
Okay.
And we were hugging them and we were hugging each other. And it just like, at the end of all that, like, that's when she told me, that felt like church. And I was like, yeah, it did. And I don't know. And just like, to me, it occurred to me, I'm like, I'm here to, like, why am I on this earth? Which was around the same time that right after my sister died and my mother died. And I was like really asking myself those big questions. And I was like, I'm here to make other people feel seen and celebrated, especially people who the rest of the world tries to dim their light and tries to like, shrink them. And I'm like, no, we're going to celebrate you. And so these were these young girls, low income, that like seemingly the world have forgotten. And everyone was like, well, whatever. Like, we don't know what they're going to be when they grow up. And we were like, no, this is what you could be when you grow up. And we were talking about like, here's the universe is in front of you. And here's, you can journal. And here's a book you can read. And here's like, we poured everything into it. And it ended up being a really special day.
So that was your sign.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, like that was powerful.
Yeah.
It was really good.
I'm always big on paying attention to the signs because we're just moving so fast all the time that we just chalk things up to like, oh, whatever. And we just continue to move on where literally the signs are in front of us all the time. Like God is literally positioning the signs.
We have to be listening. Yeah, we have to be listening, open, ready to receive.
Right.
And like sin miedo, because sometimes God tells you something. And I know for me, like when God was telling me to go on mission, yo decía, Papa Dios, is there anything else that I could do for you?
Yeah.
And it was like, no. Like the answer was no. You're going to go back. You're going to go to mission. You're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to live in a developing country. It's going to be hard, but that's what I need you to do. That's your mission. You need to go to the prison and you need to be with those women. And that was like a phenomenal experience, which I talk about in the book. Like it was unparalleled. But sometimes, so we get the message, but we're hoping for a different one. And we're like, well, okay, I heard that. But like, got anything else?
I don't know if this message is for me. Cross signals, I don't know if it's for me. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I felt for a while. Like I was like, I don't know if that's what I want to do. I was like, see, and I think for me, the conflict or the tension came from that I had like, I grew up poor. And once me superé, and I was like, I went to college, I had a good job, I was making money. I was like, I don't want to be broke again. But that's what God wanted for me. That was how I needed to show up. And I think a lot of it was because I knew, I had a sense of how you could be broke financially, but you could still like be happy and have a hopeful and a very full life. And, and quite frankly, I learned even more from the people that I met in Bolivia that's possible. Like they were happy people. I was happy in Bolivia and I was brokety broke. I had no money. They didn't have no money, but we found ways to like be together and like have meals together and like just do silly things, play games, like, but we were happy people. It's a simpler life when you're not chasing things.
Yes, absolutely. It is a simpler life.
Yeah.
So let's get into the Talk That Talk segment where we address something in the Cultura that we want to double down on or that we want to see a shift in. So tell us, what is something in the Cultura you want to see shift or stay the same?
Yeah, I talk about this in the book, and it's about shedding limiting beliefs. And I think as the Latino culture, we have several limiting beliefs. One of them is in the title of the book, which is, Calladita No More is a direct response to Calladita te ves más bonita, which is, we know, a dicho and a refrán that is very prevalent in our community. And I think another...
which is be quiet, stay cute.
Yeah. Like, this, it's all good. Just, just stay there. So another one I think that we get fed a lot is te tienes que portar bien. Pórtate bien. That's like very common thing, especially as a girl. Te tienes que portar bien. Santa Claus no te va a traer regalos si no te porta bien. Everything is dependent on you being a good girl. Pórtate bien en la escuela, que la maestra no te regañe, whatever. It's always, that's a big thing, a big message for us. And I was yo me portaba bien. But I feel that, por tanto, like being a good girl can be quite limiting. because you don't get to say things that are uncomfortable and make other people feel uncomfortable. When you're too busy trying to be likable and trying to be pleasant and trying to like, be something that other people find acceptable or like comfortable, then maybe you're not really getting the opportunity to say things that are uncomfortable or unpleasant or that challenge the status quo. And so that's a lot of the message of my book. And I think there's a lot of people that do that well, but the person that I'm going to shout out in particular is Cardi B, because she's in the news right now and she's all over the news. And she like the line where they're like, "Did you call her fat?" And she was like, "No, I didn't call her fat. I called her a B." And it's just like, it's funny. And
it's true.
It's true. She's being authentic. I think there's a lot.
Yeah, totally.
Instead of being the good girl, I would rather be the authentic girl. I would rather be the real girl. I would rather be the girl who keeps it real and who keeps it 100%. And you might still be likable that way. And Cardi B is evidence of that you could still be authentic and real, and you could be likable. And I would say being likable is secondary. Being authentic and standing by your values and being true to yourself, that should be your priority. And I feel like that is something that our culture misses out on, that we don't teach young girls that enough to stand on business, so to speak. And, another person that we talked about Benito earlier, but I feel like Benito is the same way. Like Benito's like, I am who I am. I'm talking Spanish in my concert. I'm talking Spanish at this interview. You don't know, look it up. Get Google Translate. I just there, figure it out. I'ma just keep it real. And people like him. People respect him. That hasn't gotten in the way of him being a successful artist, a successful singer, someone that people, pay hundreds of dollars to go see.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think those are just some really good examples of people that have stayed true, that have made being genuine and authentic and standing on their principles and their values their top priority. And they're doing great. And I think more of us could be following that lead. And I think we should.
I agree. I think both of them do a really good job of you can't put them in a box.
No.
You can't put them in a box. And just when you think you figured them out, they do something to surprise the hell out of you.
Yeah, and people like it.
People do like it. But then there's also tons of people who criticize it. And what I've learned is that when you stand in your truth and when you decide to truly be comfortable in your skin and own all of you, your flaws, the things that are amazing about you, your imperfections, what you consider to be failures, where you consider to be losses, then nobody can weaponize it against you. And also, people will envy that. And their way of expressing that envy is to critique, is to ridicule.
Yes. And imagine how much healthier we would be from a social emotional, like mental health perspective when we don't have to pretend or code switch or lie or, put on like a good face, or just keep it real. Like today I'm sad, tomorrow I'm mad, today I'm happy, I'm joy filled. Like, there comes a time and a place where you just need to be yourself, and there's a lot of freedom in that, and I want that for us. Mm-hmm. Like, there might be una que otra vez or situation or case where you have to put a buena cara. There's time and a place for everything. But I think mostly when I look at, Benito, look at Cardi and others, and you, Victoria Jennifer, when you keep it real, like, people respect that. And you live, and you don't have to, I just feel like you live a happier life when you show up that way. And I have found, I spent 25 years trying to center myself so that I could be palatable to the, corporate communities and the people that I met there. And there's a lot of freedom in not having to worry about that and just being like, it's okay. Like, I'm just going to say the thing. You might love it, you might not, but like, it is what it is, and I stand behind it. And so, I just think,
and I think the biggest thing is when you do it, you give others permission to do it too, because they're like, oh, okay, this is possible. Like, she's doing it. And I just want to add that it is really hard to be a truth teller. It is really hard to be authentic. It is really hard to stay true to yourself when everyone is basically telling you should be everything but who you are.
Yes.
And giving you great business cases as to why you shouldn't be who you are, right?
Yeah.
It's going to impact your bank account, or people are not going to consider you for promotions or whatever it is. And
you won't be like executive material.
Right,
if
you won't be
act like
executive
that.
material,
Yeah.
or you won't get this contract, you won't get this opportunity. It really forces you to think about, like, you know, is it worth it? Is it worth it being this true? Like, do I win an award for being the realist? like what do I get for being the realist, you know? And I've had to ask myself those questions, because there have been...
So what's your answer? I think I have
I'm
an answer, but what's yours?
I'm getting to it. You know, I've had those moments where I question, like, is this worth it? Like, should I just play the game? Like, should I just play the game to just get where I'm trying to go faster?
Okay.
Right? Which I think is the strategy. You will get there faster if you wear the mask and you play the game. You will, because the more comfortable you make people, the more they want to embrace you, right?
Yeah.
But what I've learned, or what I've decided works for me, and where I feel God uses me as a voice, and what I feel my purpose is to go against the grain, is to burn the rule book, is to show people that living in your truth is the ultimate freedom. Mm-hmm. There is no other solace like being in love with yourself and being true to yourself, because there's nothing anybody can weaponize against you.
Nobody could, no te lo pueden quitar.
And listen, we're all human. Nobody wants to hear that you're not liked. Nobody wants to hear that you're difficult. Nobody wants to hear that you're too aggressive. Nobody wants to hear any of that shit, especially as a woman, because from birth, we're told, you know, to be liked, right? Yeah. To stay cute, to be beautiful, to be welcoming, to be all the things. And so when people are telling you you're not that, you might believe it, right? And you might be like, well, wow, that just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good for people to not want to be around me because I make them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But I made the executive decision for me, and listening to God and listening to myself, in deciding that I'm not really meant to make you comfortable. Yeah. I'm actually meant to make you uncomfortable. Yes. Because what happens when we're uncomfortable? That's how we grow.
That's how we grow.
Right?
I was about to say that I mentioned in the book, so truth teller I talk about being a disruptor and being a truth teller, and how I think those are good things too. And those are things that people have called me. And, you know, sometimes, like you said, it's unpleasant. Like you're like, yeah, you're as a human, you want to be likable. But I talk about how when I walk in a room, I've walked into rooms and I can see some people like, uh-oh, here she comes. Aquí viene. And I'm like, that's okay. And then I see some other people like,
right,
you're in the room, yay!
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you know, so I feel like both of those are good signs. I like that some people shift in their seat, and I like that other people are like, yes, you're here. Now we're gonna get in trouble together.
Yes,
good trouble.
Yes,
John
yes.
Lewis. I feel like I'm more of a happy person when I get to be show up authentically and fully. Mm-hmm. I feel like I am more, just happier, freer. I'm more willing or able to give my ideas, to contribute in a meaningful way, you know, to challenge and say like, well, I know we've always done it that way, but like, have we thought about this other thing? Mm-hmm. And, you know, to be honest with you, that's where, if showing up authentically and showing up, you know, from as Latinx people of color, and those different lived experiences, that's where we can differentiate ourselves.
Right.
So I feel like it's a superpower for us to show up a little bit differently, because it's like no one else is really willing to do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like, boy, that sazon is something special.
Yeah.
And everybody knows it.
Yeah, totally. And
everybody knows
wants
it.
To feast on it.
Yeah.
Right? It's just when they're in the mood for it. And it's like, no, it's not going to be always when you're in the mood.
Yeah. Right? Oh, my God. That's
song
so
has
true.
That seasoning all the time. Okay, so this gorgeous book. Look at this cover, y'all. Look how gorgeous this cover is. Available on all platforms, right? For them to purchase.
So it's hardcover, paperback, ebook. And I also have the audiobook version, which I narrated myself.
Oh, I love that. Okay. So wherever you get like Amazon, all the things.
Favorite online retailer, favorite indie bookstore.
Okay, perfect. Or what is the main takeaway you want people to get from this book?
I want Latinas and women of color not to feel like they're alone and that they're the only ones going through like challenging experiences and questioning whether they're enough or they're too much, or yeah, I just want them not to feel alone, to know that I've been there, and that we have a lot of power and we need to step into that power and not be afraid to use it.
Okay. And what makes your book different?
Well, one is that it is my lived experience. So everybody's lived experience is different. So I would say that alone probably makes it different. But I think the fact that I like use refranes to ground us, I feel like that is really different, because I wanted to kind of bring in that ancestral wisdom and just like that cultura and ground us in that and remind us that like maybe there's a lot we already know, or maybe there's a lot that we've already been taught, and like, are we leaning into that enough? Because it's there, it's been there, it's always been there.
Okay.
So I feel like that makes it a little bit different. And I have like, I think one fun thing that I do too is at the end of every chapter, I have like questions like that they're like reflection questions, I would call them.
Okay.
And I feel like so far the feedback that I've gotten some reviews already, and people are saying like, they just were journaling for days because the feedback questions were really good and really helpful.
I saw one of the reviews. Homegirl wrote like an essay. She was like, listen, I had reflections, honey. I'm like, okay, I like this. So what type of woman would benefit from this book? Where is she in her life? What's going on? Like, what is the profile?
Yeah, I would say it's a Latina woman of color, maybe like in the first 10 years of their career. And they're starting to experience maybe some microaggressions. Maybe they're not getting promoted on time. Maybe they're not making as much as their peers. Like in the beginning, everybody, it kind of feels like pretty equal. And then 5-10 years out is when you start to see that gap grow, and you're like, oh, how come I'm making half of what somebody else is making? How come they got promoted and I didn't? How come they got the special assignment and I didn't? How come their idea is good and nobody ever listens to my idea?
Right.
I think when you start experiencing that, this book is for you, because I talk about all of those things. And I also feel, even if you're someone in your 30s or 40s and you probably might be experiencing those things even still, because if you don't do anything about it, in all likelihood, you're going to continue to experience it. I would say this book is for you too. It's not too late. Like wherever you are in your career, it's not too late to try and do some things to like step into your power, take up more space, advocate for yourself, and show up for other people. Like that's a really big message of the book too, is like, do all the great things for yourself, make sure you're set up. And then once you're in a position of power and influence, make sure you're looking out for everybody else.
I love that. All right. Well, you heard it here. Make sure to go pick up this book, Calladita No More. I love it. Support this fellow Latina.
Yes,
Make sure you build her up, because to your point, today it could be her and tomorrow it's you. So make sure to go ahead and support. Shout out to all of you for tuning in. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you in the next episode, y'all. Bye. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, I'm pretty sure you're going to love the next one. So make sure to click right here and tap into the next episode.